All right, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here for the first meeting of the Housing Production Advisory Council, established by the Governor in Executive Order 2304. Thank you very much for your time, and it's my pleasure to turn it over to the Governor for some welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Good to see you. I've been looking forward to this meeting all week. I'm very excited to be here with you, and thank you for spending your afternoon with us. Members of the council, just want to say thank you for stepping up to be on this important council. We have our work cut out for us, and I'm very excited about everyone who applied, and for folks we were able to, we had a limited number of spots, and I am very excited about the group that we have. So very much appreciate you all. One of my first acts as governor was to issue Executive Order 2304, which sets an ambitious housing production target of 36,000 homes per year over the next decade, which is the number of homes we would need to produce at all affordability levels to meet the need in our state. This level of production, as many of you know, is very ambitious. Would be an 80% increase in housing production, and will require all of us working hard, exhibiting bold action to accomplish this. The consequences of the housing shortage we have in our state are present around us every day. Oregonians are struggling to find affordable housing, often displaced and in search of stability, and unfortunately may end up experiencing homelessness due to lack of housing options in every part of our state. We know that the shortage of housing also disproportionately impacts Black and Brown Oregonians, who are more likely to experience homelessness and extreme rent burden. All of our work at this council must center racial justice. That is a paramount importance for me. And I am hopeful that this group can get the work done. You give me hope because there is a wealth of experience and expertise on this council, and people like all of you are willing to give their time to identify the steps we need to take as a state to address the housing crisis. And I will remind you, even though you are members of the council, there are teams of people around the state that want you to be successful as well. And you have networks, people, we all know people who can give us advice and expertise and get behind the work that we need to do here on this council. So I'm very pleased for this inaugural meeting. We have a very busy month ahead of us to hit our first benchmark, and we'll be talking about today. I also want to thank our legislative leaders from both parties, from both chambers, who are taking part of this process, especially during legislative session. We know how busy you are, so we appreciate your time. And there are currently solutions being worked on in the legislature this session to increase housing production in the state. And I really appreciate their willingness to share what they're working on so we can build on their incredible efforts. I want to thank our agency directors, particularly Andrea Bell and Brenda Bateman, for participating and for the work of their teams to staff this council. And I want to lift up and appreciate our co-chairs, Damian Hall and JD Tovey, for serving as co-chairs, and thank all of the 18 Oregonians who have accepted these appointments. We had over 180 applicants for this council. So there is a lot of interest out there, and really great applications, I might say. So I am confident that at the end of this process, after a lot of hard work, and I think frankly pushing ourselves to ask hard questions and do new things, that we will get to those housing production goals. And this is I believe, the beginning of a very strong effort that we all have to partake in. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Matt. So just for the agenda for the day, we'll start off with introductions, and then we're going to talk about some shared norms for this group. We are also going to talk about the draft framework that you received. There will be a break here. There's a 10-minute break somewhere in this, I think around 2:30. Then the latter half of the meeting will be presentations, and we'll wrap up about next steps. So there's a lot to do here today. So Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Governor. So, we want the council to get to know each other a bit. Some of you may know each other, some of you may not. We also want stakeholders that are watching to get to know you as well, and we'd like to get to know a little bit more about your expertise, why you volunteered to serve on this council. So I'm going to facilitate introductions just to make it easier, and please feel free to share about yourself. We really want to learn. So we're going to start off with.
Can I just say, sorry, Matt, and please be brief. We will have lots of time in the course of our conversations for just to expend more, but remember, we have to get through everyone. So, a couple minutes tops. Thank you.
Yeah. Starting off with Senator Jama.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Governor. Good to see you, and good afternoon, everybody. Senator Casey Jama, you see him pronounced. I serve at the Senate Committee on Housing Development Chair, and I've been in the Senate about now going to my third year, actually, surprisingly. So that's me. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Governor, and appreciate everybody's willingness to participate. I'm Dick Anderson, Senate District 5 from the coast, Vice Chair on Senator Jama's Housing Committee. I've got 35 years in real estate lending, and I might note that some of our material showed housing starts over the last, since the 70s. I retired in 2006, and so it looks to me like the minute I retired, the housing market went into the tank, productions went down. So my goal is to get us back on track.
Thank you. Representative Dexter.
Hello, Maxine Dexter, she, her. I am happy to be here and certainly excited to be working on the Housing Committee as chair. I'm a physician, mother, and really just happy to help stabilize the housing that we all need in our state.
Representative Helfrich.
Hi, Jeff Helfrich, House District 52. My former position was a planning commissioner when I was in Cascade Locks, and housing is near and dear to my heart. We live in the heart of the gorge, and we have a lot of opportunities to get some things done, but we all have different issues within the areas that we live, and I look forward to our land use conversations that we're going to have.
Director Bell.
Thanks, Matt. Afternoon, Governor. Afternoon, everybody. Good to be in virtual community. Andrea Bell, she, her pronouns, Executive Director of Oregon Housing and Community Services. Obviously, I care about housing. It's central to our people, to our health, collectively, our communities, and our economy. So thanks, everybody, for being here.
Director Bateman.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I'm on two screens as I'm also sitting here in our conference room with Riley Hill. And so apologies while I figure out microphones. Good afternoon, everyone. Brenda Bateman, I'm the Director of Department of Land Conservation and Development. We're so pleased to be here in the space with you today, working on solutions to a very important problem. We have quite a bit of background, or a little bit of background, about our department that we wanted to share, but I think I will hold that in reserve until later this afternoon as we get ready to do some formal presentations, because I'd like to hear more from everyone else first. Thank you.
Co-Chair Hall.
Good afternoon, folks. Damian Hall. I'm a land use and real estate attorney. I'm partnered with a firm called Dunn Carney here in Portland, Oregon. I do a lot of work in the land use realm and a lot of work for both private developers and local governments, often in the public-private partnership space. Familiar with the structuring and finance of both affordable and market rate housing, and look forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting to know everybody and doing the work of this good committee. Thanks.
Co-Chair Tuvey.
Good afternoon, Governor, and everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you all and looking forward to working with you all. I'm JD Tuvey. I'm the Tribal Planning Director at the Umatilla Indian Reservation in Pendleton, Oregon. I'm also a member of the tribe of Cayuse. And we obviously work at a lot on housing, huge housing needs in Eastern Oregon. So I'm looking forward to exploring a lot of those regional challenges we have out there. Thank you.
Councilmember Bunn.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Daniel Bunn. In my private life, I'm the CEO of Rubicon Investments. We're a real estate development company that does a lot of work for the state of Oregon, particularly DHS. That's my private hat. My public hat, I've been a planning commissioner, city councilor, urban renewal director, community action agency, all based out of Southern Oregon and Medford. So kind of all facets of my life somehow dance around housing, and I'm happy to be here and bring government real estate financing expertise to the table.
Councilmember Flanagan.
Good afternoon. I'm Deborah Flanagan. I'm Vice President with Hayden Homes. We're the largest private home builder located in the Northwest. We build just over 2,000 homes a year, and we're focused on underserved rural communities throughout Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Montana. To date, we have built in all but 3 of the 36 Oregon communities, or excuse me, counties. It is our goal to build homes for our workforce and bring them to market that meets the affordable price point for our area medium income wage earners. 23 years ago, when I started with Hayden Homes, we were accomplishing that in 100% of our communities. Today, we are achieving it in less than 10% of our Oregon communities. And that's why I've applied for the council. And that's why I'm here today. Over the years, we've had to vary our housing our housing types. Today, we build market rate detached single family homes, attached middle housing plexes, cottage and cluster communities, ADUs, small 9-plexes, H2A approved farm worker housing. And recently we're working with nonprofits and local governments to bring housing to our most vulnerable homeless neighbors. Hayden Homes is also building the pilot project that was called out in the ONA report, referenced as HB 4079, which was passed in 2016. This pilot project allows an expedited UGB expansion by incorporating 30% of the homes as being affordable. This was a new concept for us to build scale in the affordable space while integrating it into a market rate community. We took this project on to see if we, as a market rate builder, could actually make it pencil without the use of government subsidies. And over the last month, and nearly 7 years later, it was finally annexed in and approved by the city of Bend. And this will add 346 homes, 108 of them being designated as affordable for households under 80% AMI. I look forward to sharing the successes and the challenges of this to date, and using this as the basis as one of the ways to achieve the governor's goal of building the 36,000 new homes, new units for the year. We must create real partnerships between the state and market rate builders. I'm honored to be on the council, and I look forward to serving beside all of you. Thank you.
Councilmember Gertler.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Governor. Nice to be here. I'm Alyssa Gertler. I am currently, for the last 8 months, I have been the executive director of the Northwest Oregon Housing Authority, based in, and we serve Clatsop, Columbia, and Tillamook counties, so the coast and the Columbia River. And so in the last 8 months, as I've lived here, I've seen the special needs that the coastal communities face. So in addition to all the housing challenges that we are all well aware of, we live in a very environmentally sensitive, tourist-dependent area, which brings extra complications on all of our families and communities and businesses, frankly, who live here. So I'm really committed not only to representing the needs of the coast, but before I moved here, just less than a year ago, I have lived in the Portland metropolitan area for the last 30 years. I worked for a city government, a county government. For the last decade, I was the director of planning and development at Metro. So have great experience in the land use realm, the urban growth boundary realm, and was responsible for the implementation of Metro's housing bond and housing measure and housing program. So I think between my urban experience and my coastal experience, I can bring a good perspective to help the committee move forward.
Councilmember Olson.
Hi there, Eric Olson. I am a builder and land developer located in Monmouth, Oregon. We develop in Salem and Monmouth and Central Oregon. My background is in architecture and engineering, And I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and I'm very excited about the prospects of really making some major changes to the housing landscape. I think there's a lot of potential out there to sort of bend the curve and make decisions that really won't sacrifice a lot of the the great land use laws that we have currently on the books, but still allow us to be able to move in a direction where we can actually create affordable, good housing for Oregonians.
Councilmember Mills.
Good afternoon. I'm Erica Mills. I have quite a few bit of experience in mortgage lending. I have an educational background in public health, and I'm currently the CEO of NeighborWorks Umpqua. We're an affordable housing developer and manager with about 685 units throughout Douglas, Coos, and Curry County, as well as a little bit in Lane, and we touch into Jackson and Josephine as well. We do some occasional homeownership support in Klamath and Lake counties as needed. And I'm really interested in helping to further the voice of my rural region. I feel like that's a significant reason why I was selected for this committee, and I take that very seriously. So I've been spending some time over the last few days and before, of course, reaching out to folks in my region that do similar things and very different things. And I have quite a few pages of notes that I'm excited to share about the interests of the communities that we serve. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Fonseca.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for having us here, and thank you everyone for joining this council along the rest of us. I am.
Councilmember Fonseca, you muted yourself accidentally.
God, did you hear anything that I said? Okay, Ernesto Fonseca, Chief Executive Officer with Hacienda CDC. I am very, very interested in supporting this effort for multiple reasons. The systems that we have are not definitely working. Not that they are bad, but they take too long. So we need to affect policy, and the production of housing has to be reshaped in a different way without doing what we're doing. So I'm ready to step up and support efforts on the policy side, including all the supply chain to build these projects, right? From the financing system to the actually permitting system, which typically tend to be some barriers, for us to be lean and fast. More than that, innovation on housing, has to take place today. And one of the things that excites me the most is that our governor has declared this an emergency, and we know we can make this happen. If we were able to develop a vaccine in no time, we can develop these houses also in no time. We just need the permission of somebody like our governor to do this, and then we are set and go. So I'm ready to go, and let's make this happen. Happy to be here.
Councilmember Raj Baida.
Thank you very much. I'm Gauri Raj Baidia. Very honored to be here in this council with you all. Thank you very much. I'm a principal at Sierra Architects. We've been around working on housing and all kinds of projects for over 50 years. I myself, I'm a first generation immigrant. I only became a citizen not too long ago. And I'm very deeply, love and involved in affordable housing. I was also a past board chair for Asian and Pacific American Network of Oregon, APANO, that saw the development of Orchards of 82nd along with APANO Space. So I'm really very much interested in community-based development that is really much about cultural focus and about anti-displacement. I worked on both senior housing, design senior housing, permanent supportive housing, family housing, and I'm also helping FHDC farm worker housing for their farm worker housing types of things. Having worked on a lot of the design projects that some have been funded and some have not been funded, bringing the lessons and the frustrations along with it, trying to see like what Council Member Ernesto Fonseca mentioned on the zoning, the hurdles in the zoning, trying to see how we can make all those things smoother to make more of these production out there. So I'm really excited, and I take this role very, very responsibly and in a very serious way. So thank you so much, and looking forward to working with you all.
Councilmember Matthews.
Good afternoon, Governor Kotek and members of the Housing Production Advisory Council. My name is Ivory Matthews and I use she, her pronouns. And I am the Chief Executive Officer for Home Forward, the Housing Authority of Multnomah County. It's also the largest housing authority in the state of Oregon, serving over 15,000 households. I also serve in many capacities with affordable housing trade organizations that help shape local, state, national policy for equitable and inclusive housing solutions for individuals and families. And so I'm extremely happy to be here and to assist with developing this important framework. Thank you.
Councilmember Madsen.
Thanks, Matt. Good afternoon, Governor Kotek. Good afternoon, members of the council. I'm Joel Madsen. Use he, him pronouns, and I have 19 years of my professional career has been devoted to the affordable housing industry. And I've served in various capacities in the industry. And in the last 10 years, I've been able to work with the Mid-Columbia Housing Authority and Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation as the executive director. We serve Hood River, Wasco, and Sherman counties in Oregon State. And we work toward our mission in 4 primary lines of business. We're administrators of rent assistance. We provide rent directly into the private rental market on behalf of our program participants. We help our program participants and our residents access appropriate services in the community and help them build wealth through wealth building opportunities. We're developers, owners, and managers of affordable housing communities. We have a portfolio that's vast across our service area and vast across the people we serve, from agriculture workforce housing to senior housing and other low-income housing needs across our portfolio, leveraging federal, state, and local funds to pull that off. And our 4th line of business that we work within is we work with current and future homeowners to achieve and maintain the opportunity to be homeowners, whether that's foreclosure avoidance, or if people are faced with that unfortunate circumstance, or that we're working with the first generation home buyer to realize their dream of becoming a homeowner. So again, I'm very happy to bring my experience of working in some of the more rural parts in our state and my professional experience over my career to this council. I'm just very excited that for the charge that we have, which is bold, and for the leadership of Governor Kotek to help us get there with the commitment here. So happy to be here with you all.
Councilmember Wood.
Good afternoon, Governor Kotek and members of the council. My name is Justin Wood. I'm a home builder and primarily based in Portland, Oregon. I have been doing infill single family starter homes in the city of Portland for 20 plus years, and I work for a company that's been doing it for almost 50 years. Our primary buyers of homes are owners that take advantage of the system development waivers that City of Portland offers to families making at or below the median family income. And we also use tax abatement programs. So our primary focus and goal has always been market rate housing for families at or below median family income. So that's something that we've specialized in and tried to focus on. I am the past chairman of the Oregon Home Builders Association and currently on the board of the National Home Builders Association. And I'm a past chairman of the Portland Development Review Advisory Committee. So I've got some experience there working with Portland city government in terms of some of the permitting issues and challenges that we've faced working on these issues over the years. Our primary focus has always been single family detached, but just in the last year or two, we've shifted more to missing middle housing type 3plexes and 4plexes, utilizing the Senate Bill 458, especially working on missing middle land divisions to create homeownership opportunities in that realm as well. So thank you, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Councilmember Rockwell.
Good afternoon. I'm excited and grateful to be here today with the rest of the group. I'm currently the executive director of the Housing Authority of the Lincoln County on the coast. We have 560 housing choice vouchers that we administer, as well as 242 owned units. And we have 3 developments underway, which is very exciting for our area. Prior to my work here, I'm still a baby here. I've been here for 7 months. And prior to my work here, I was with the Habitat for Humanity for about a decade, doing residential home building. And before that, I was running a home builders association in the Midwest. So I'm very excited to be here and to learn from this group. Thank you.
Councilmember Van Vliet.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Governor Kotek. I'm excited, especially having heard the introductions of many of my new colleagues. So this is fantastic, and I could not be more pleased. My name is Margaret Van Vliet. I run a consultancy, and I advise state and local government, nonprofits, and foundations on a variety of housing, homelessness, and actually wildfire recovery strategies. My subject matter expertise comes from 30 years in primarily the affordable housing industry, most of that in state and local government agencies. But I did start my career in banking with Senator Anderson. So just in case you wanted to know, we're in the same peer group. So good to see you, Senator. My most significant job was running the state of Oregon's Housing and Community Services Department for about 4.5 years under a prior governor. So I have some kinship with Director Bell and Director Bateman in terms of kind of what it means to be in state government, and have worked again for a couple of local governments as well. So hope to bring some of those experiences and perspectives into the conversation. Thank you.
Councilmember Janey.
Good afternoon, Governor Kotek and fellow council members. My name is Natalie Janney. I'm a civil engineer at Multitech Engineering. We are a firm in Salem. We do a lot of subdivision and multifamily housing development in the Mid-Willamette Valley area, but we really will go anywhere that a client brings us projects. We've done projects all over the state. My background is in taking projects from land use all the way through construction permits. And so I think my area of interest with this council is making sure that the intent and the recommendations put forward are practical and what they actually mean to development projects. Because as an engineer, we're the ones that take the code and the standards and put it to paper and put it to practice. In addition, my time spent taking projects through land use has given me a lot of interaction with the public through neighborhood meetings and hearings and things like that. So I'm interested in making sure that we really do get to move things forward. Unfortunately, we've encountered a lot of NIMBYism. And so we have to make sure that if we're really going to meet these targets, that we don't give in to NIMBYism and really can move things forward. So that's why I'm here.
Councilmember Hill.
Good afternoon. My name is Riley Hill. I am the past mayor of Ontario, Oregon. I recently, or 6 or 7 years ago, we formed a group called Malheur County Poverty to Prosperity, which concentrated mostly on land use and career technical education for our students in our area. We have a 63% Hispanic population in our school district, and they were not being, I don't think, the demographics had changed in our community and they weren't given the opportunities that they need to have. We've made good strides on that. I've been a builder developer most of my life, starting with affordable housing back in 1976 when they had the Farmers Home Administration 501 program. I built and developed in Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. Subdivisions, office buildings, and I kept and retained about 400 affordable housing rental units. My focus has been all in rural Oregon, and I'm currently really interested in workforce housing because I get calls all the time about, do you have anything here? We have people that we have job openings. We have 70 or 80 job openings at Ore-Ida. We have 70 or 80 job openings at the Fry Food Plant. And so we have the working poor that do not have a place to live. And one of the goals of this group, I think, should be to bring people out of poverty. And you're going to be in poverty, I think, as long as you live in an apartment complex. And so I hope that to have some influence and see so we get some single family housing going and move people into houses and give them a future and opportunities. Funny thing is that when I knew I was appointed to this list, I sat down and made a list of the things that I thought we should look at. And then I read the legislative report and it was right down the line with about everything I had written down, with a couple of 3 exceptions. And so if we can be successful and do the good this group can do and follow some of those deals, and I have 2 or 3 others, but I think there's some possibilities here. So thank you, Governor, for letting me serve.
Councilmember Justice.
Good afternoon, Rob Justice. I've actually been doing this type of work for 34 years in service to low income and low wage and no wage people. Really, have tried to focus a lot of the work on actual people that we're trying to serve, and find it's critical to maintain that type of relationship. Right now, I work for Home First Development. Home First builds affordable housing statewide. We actually like working in smaller communities around the state of Oregon. We have projects as far east as Ontario and on the coast in Tillamook. I'm excited about having this opportunity to join all of you. After doing this work for 34 years, to be honest, I have been a little disheartened over the years at the state of things in regards to homelessness and in affordable housing. But, I actually come to this council with renewed hope. I think we're starting to have the right conversations locally and around the community. And I see people from all backgrounds, all committed and understand that we have to do things differently. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you in the future, and look forward to getting something done.
Councilmember Cody.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Matt. It's good to be here with you today. He, him are my pronouns, and I run a development company here in Oregon. We have offices in Portland and Bend. We're a values-driven development company, meaning we look for positive social and environmental impacts alongside economic returns for our investors and the communities that we build in. I'm also the founder of a modular housing initiative focused on workforce housing. We're running a factory currently in Washington State and are starting up a 90,000 square foot factory here in Oregon to supply our first 3 projects in Bend, in Medford for wildfire relief, and here in Portland. I'm so excited to be working with you all and collaborating with you and bring a problem-solving ethic and I think the optimism and belief that we can figure this out. So thank you.
Thank you to everyone for sharing. I want to just share the governor's sentiment that I'm very excited at all the experience and expertise that sits around the council. I would like to, we have a multi-agency staff team that will be supporting you. So I would like to be able to do brief introductions of them as well. They're helping to staff you through this March process, and then they'll also be the lead folks that you're working with during the work group process after the plan framework is complete. So if staff could also briefly introduce themselves, starting with Alana.
Good afternoon. I'm Alana Cox. I'm administrator of the Building Codes Division at the Department of Consumer and Business Services, and really excited to serve this council.
And then for the Department of Land Conservation and Development, Mari, can you facilitate introductions of the team?
Sure, I can start.
Hello and happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, Governor and members of the HPAC. Happy to be here. My name is Mari Valencia Aguilar. I use she or they pronouns, and I am a housing planner with the Department of Land Conservation and Development. Our agency is committed to supporting this council's success in accomplishing our governor's charge as outlined in the executive order. So with that, I'll hand it off to my colleague, Thea.
Hello, Governor Kotek and members of the council. I'm also delighted to be here with you all. My name is Thea Croman. I'm a housing policy analyst with DLCD, and I will hand it to Ingrid.
Good afternoon.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everybody. Ingrid Cordell. I am Advisory Committee Coordinator for DLCD and providing admin support for this group. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And then we also have staff from Oregon Housing and Community Services. Not everybody could be here, but I will pass it to Megan to introduce herself.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt and Governor Kotek and council members. My name is Megan Bolton. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of Research at Oregon Housing and Community Services. Really nice to see some familiar faces and meet some of you for the first time. Happy to support this group.
And then I think Sean, you from DLCD was going to introduce himself. He is one of the presenters today, but also from DLCD.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. And thank you, Governor Kotek and members of the council. My name is Sean Edging. I'm a housing planner at the Department of Land Conservation and Development. I'll be talking later today about the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis.
And now Sam Thomas.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Sam Thomas, he, him pronouns. I am with the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. I'm a workforce program analyst, so kind of focused on workforce development, apprenticeships, and programs to help get folks into the construction trades. And I do have background in land use as well, starting in like 2008. My first internship was at Polk County and Community Development in Dallas, Oregon, and had recently been at a private architecture firm. So I do have a little bit of land use knowledge from both the public and private sector. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for the introductions. So if you're following your agenda, we're going to move to a very brief overview of the executive order. I think a lot of folks have already covered it, and then we'll move right into the discussion on the council shared agreements and the plan framework itself. So just a couple of items that I wanted to highlight from the executive order. As the governor and others have mentioned, the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis process identified that there's a current deficit of around 140,000 homes across the state. You're going to hear more about that later in the meeting. So that, in combination with what the projected need for housing is over the next 20 years, means that Oregon needs to produce over 440,000 homes in order to meet the overall demand. Looking at a 10-year time frame, which is the time frame for this council, as the governor mentioned, we have a target of 36,000 homes per year in order to reach the estimated need of 360,000 homes. And I would mention that it's an 80% increase over the most recent annual average production in the state. And we also know that more than half of those units will need to be affordable to households earning 80% of the median income or less. So as far as the charge of the council itself, there are really two main objectives here in Directive 6. And that is to develop the plan framework by April the 1st. And so we have 4 meetings every Friday starting today and going through the end of the month in order to develop the plan framework. I think we have a good work plan to make that happen. I know it's a short time frame, but we're here to support you in however you need. The second deliverable and deadline is the end of the calendar year, December 31st, 2023. And that is to have the final recommended action plan to the governor for her consideration. Finally, within the action plan itself, we are looking for recommendations from the council on policy changes and investments for the governor's consideration in order to meet the annual housing production target at the affordability levels that are prioritized based on the deficits at each affordability type, which again, we'll hear more about later today in the meeting, and housing that is advancing fair housing and is equitably distributed across the state of Oregon, across geography and housing type. So we've got an ambitious charge, but I think we can do it, and we're very excited to have you all volunteering your expertise and experience for the council. And so with that, to facilitate the conversation around the shared agreements, I will pass it back to the governor.
Thank you, Matt. And before I go to the next section, I do want to personally thank Matt on my team. We have a housing and homelessness initiative team in the governor's office. Taylor Schmalley Wolf and Matt Chabot have been doing an amazing job. And Matt in particular was the person who managed to figure out how we could get to this point today in terms of getting our council stood up. And I just want to thank you personally for your great work. So appreciate you, Matt. I'm super stoked. I mean, you can tell from those intros that we have a lot of lived experience, expertise, and energy coming into this conversation. Like I said, in the opening remarks, I think we can get this done. And I think it's always important to have a place you want to go, even if it's bold and hard. That doesn't mean we should feel daunted. We just need to get in there and do the work. So very, very excited about this group. The other thing I want to say is, we'll make sure you have contact information. So if you have an idea and you want to pick up the phone and call someone on the council and be like, what do you think of this idea? Want to facilitate that sharing of ideas prior to and in between meetings. So we'll make sure you have that because I think I'm sure you were taking notes like I was, like, oh, I want to talk to this person about this or that. So we'll try to make that happen to make it easy. So for us to be successful, we know that it's important to have a shared understanding of the forum that we're in here, the forum that we have. So one of the tools that we find very valuable for our councils and commissions is the establishment of shared agreements. This helps set expectations for each member when discussions are occurring and provides something to reference during difficult conversations that we should expect to have. And we are trying to change how we do business. We will have some tough conversations. These tools, shared expectations, understandings also help to center racial equity and justice in discussions and provide frameworks for checking potential recommendations. So there's a document that you all should receive in your packet titled Draft Staff Recommendations for HPAC Shared Agreements. So if you want to pull that up, we can also, oh, there it is. It's up on the screen. So I want to thank Director Bell and her team at Oregon Housing and Community Services for providing this draft as a